Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this video in which we'll try to set what I believe is a world record in the score for the standard mode of Heroes of Might and Magic 2, as well as in the number of turns to beat one of the scenarios that come with the game. In this case, we'll be playing the expansion called the Price of Loyalty, which you can also find in the Gold edition of the game. In order to set this record, we'll have to meet some requirements which I'll be explaining in the first minutes of the video. So basically, the scenario we'll be playing is called Dungeon Below, which is an expansion map, and therefore you won't find it in the basic version of Heroes of Might and Magic 2. In order to maximize the rating, we'll set the difficulty to Impossible. As you may know, Impossible difficulty sets a huge penalty in our starting resources, while the opponents start with more resources than usual. However, this is not an inconvenient in this stage because we won't be buying any creatures or building anything in our castle. The Impossible difficulty also makes the CPU play much more aggressive, but this isn't an inconvenience either because we won't have any fights with opponents. As you can see, the scenario allows us to choose between the Warlock and the Wizard, but the first condition to achieve the record is choosing the Wizard, and soon you'll see why. Okay, so let's analyze the map a little bit. In order to do that, we'll use the code 8675309. As you can see in the upper right corner of the screen, this map is a kind of labyrinth, and the goal of this stage is to reach an artifact placed midway from our castle to the opponents. This means that basically the first team reaching the center of the map with a reasonable army to defeat the creatures surrounding the artifact is winning, without any reason to fight the opponent's heroes or assaulting his castle. The central area of the stage is protected by two barriers, but this won't be any obstacle for us because we are going to skip them. And no matter what side you choose, you can see the structure of the scenario is quite the same. So basically our goal for this stage is to reach the central area in the minimum number of turns and take out the creature stats that surround the artifact. So, as you can imagine, this record can only be achieved by learning the spell called Dimension Door, which is a 5th level spell that allows our hero to teleport on the map. Otherwise, we won't be able to go very far in few turns by just galloping the plains and fighting stacks of creatures. Fortunately, the Mage Guild in our town is already built, so we won't have to spend any time or resources on it. Therefore, the second condition to set this record is having Dimension Door in the Mage Guild from the beginning, and we will have to check that as soon as we begin the game. If we are lucky enough, the spell will be there. If we aren't, we'll just have to restart the game until it's there. The Wizard also has a library already built in his town, meaning that there will be 2 spells in the 5th story of the Mage Guild, while the Warlock will only have 1, so chances are better for the Wizard. Another reason why the Warlock isn't good is that his castle starts surrounded by swampy terrain, making his movements slow because of the penalty this kind of terrain has. In addition, the Warlock starts in the bottom part of the map, meaning that our hero will have to surround the castle, wasting some more movement points. But if the location of the castle and not having 2 5th level spells in the Mage Guild weren't enough reasons to give up the Warlock, we'll soon find out that learning a 5th level spell like Dimension Door needs expert wisdom. However, if we go and check the stats and inventory of our hero, we can see that the Warlock starts with basic wisdom. This means we have to level up our hero at least twice before getting expert wisdom, as there are no places to learn it nearby. Furthermore, the location of the creatures is too far to do it by the force of arms in a couple of turns. No matter if we go to the west or to the east, taking out a couple of creature stacks already spends at least 2 turns, and taking out 3 to 4 stacks and going back to the castle is impossible in short time. Nevertheless, if we check the stats and inventory of the Wizard, we'll see that he starts with Advanced Wisdom, so it's possible to reach Expert Wisdom only by getting 1000 XP and leveling up just once. Now, for the rest of this video, I'll be showing the game in which I achieved the records. So first, we check the dimension door is in the Mage Guild, and then we move to the west in order to defeat a couple of stacks of creatures to get the XP. Look at the spot we are moving, as we can defeat both stacks from there. There are also groups of creatures to the east, but going west will be easier, as the trip back to the gates of our town is shorter thanks to the move we have done. The first couple of battles will be easy, as we start with a nice army, so we only have to take care not to lose any unit by preserving the genies as much as possible. So now, the third condition is that we achieve 1000 XP by defeating the creatures to the west of our castle. Sometimes we can do that by taking out only one stack, which could be perfect for us. However, most of the times we'll need to defeat both stacks, as most of them give 300 to 700 XP, and the most common case is that they give us around 500 XP. Finally, the fourth and last condition is having expert wisdom as a choice when we level up. With that, we can go back to the castle and learn the dimension door spell at the beginning of the second turn. Then we have to defeat the closest monster stack to the east. Getting expert wisdom is a matter of luck, but according to many guides, the probability that the wizard is offered wisdom as a choice is the highest among all the secondary skills, only followed by mysticism. However, I have to say I had games in this scenario in which I was usually offered more unlikely skills such as pathfinding or estates, and some combination of creatures on the map repeated again and again. In that case, the best solution for me was to quit the game to Windows and re-enter. Maybe the game has a biased pseudo-random number generator. In the worst case, we may find a 500 XP stack and a 300 XP stack to the west, or even two 300 XP stacks. As you can imagine, that won't be enough, so in that case, we will have to restart the game too. After defeating a group of creatures to the east, we have to move to the spot right to the southeast from where they were placed. From there, we can use Dimension Door to jump over the mountain range into the labyrinth, just to the south of the spot between the two piles of ore. The problem now is that we can't move directly to the southeast, so we have to grab the resources that are close to us. With that, we spend the few movement points we have, and we need to pass the turn. But what we are going to do first is saving the game, so we can come back to this point in the event something bad happens. As we said, we can't go directly to the south yet, so there's no other way than taking out the creatures to the northeast in order to be able to move. In this case, these creatures are minotaurs. We should be able to beat them without any casualties. Just rely on the giants and don't let the genies enter the fight until we are sure we will win. So now we can move freely to the south and defeat the last stack of creatures in this area. In my game they are dwarves, and they even offer joining my army. This is very convenient because we don't have any need of leveling up anymore. The dwarves won't make any difference in the rest of the fights either. It's now time to use Dimension Door one last time to jump into the central area of the map. We need to take care not to jump into a fight with the dragons. So we try to guess a good area nearby the artifact we want to get, and oops! Dimension Door failed. The place I wanted to jump to was not good, because it contained the artifact, any stack of creatures, or any geographical obstacle such as a mountain or a lake. This is a huge problem because we only begin with 20 spell points, meaning that we can cast Dimension Door only twice in the game, and casting the spell consumes the points no matter if it works or not. So now there's no other way than loading the game we saved before and defeat the Minotaurs and the Dwarves once again. So this time our jump will be to the spot right to the south of the barrier. This area is clear. From here we only have to defeat a couple of stacks of creatures before reaching the artifact. In this game, the first stack of creatures are air elementals. Now, there's not much to worry if we lose some units, although we'll keep relying on the giants for the melee in the central area of the battlefield and try to use the genies only to kill the creatures that don't focus on the giants. As a result, we may lose only one or two genies. The second fight is against Earth Elementals. In this fight, we're going to lose some creatures too, but it's not a problem we can't overcome. In the case of this game, we can use the terrain to prevent all the groups of elementals from coming together. As we said, losing a couple of genies or even a giant isn't a big problem. After beating them, we need to pass the turn because we ran out of movement points. In the last turn, we only need to grab the artifact. The artifact is guarded by a green dragon, but it's a piece of cake for our remaining genies and giants. So there we are. We got the Staff of Wizardry, beating the game in 4 turns, meaning we have achieved a score of 312 and a rating of Black Dragon. But wait, can we make it in 3 turns? The answer is yes. Remember, we were just 1 movement point from being able to get this staff in day 3. One way to do it is saving as many movement points as possible from the moment we save the game after our first dimension door jump. The first trick is attacking the clear spot instead of the minotaurs. This is the spot that contains the resources that are 2 steps south from the ore mine. This way we'll fight the minotaurs without having to use 1 movement point in going towards the northeast. Now, when we defeat the creatures to the south, in this case the dwarves, we can try to jump to the south of the barrier just from the place we are, not taking the position where the dwarves were. In this case, the spot will be completely covered by map fog, but it's possible to do the jump. So now, all we have to do is taking out the air elementals once again, taking care not to lose many troops. For that, as we said, we only need to prevent the genies from joining the melee too early in the fight. Just let the air elementals come to them. There we are. After that, we only have to move 1 step forward to the east, attacking the place where the air elementals were. With that, we will save another movement point in not attacking the square where the earth elementals are. Again, the only thing we have to do in this fight is saving as many troops as possible, but we don't need to take much care at this point. Just after defeating the earth elementals, we can directly move to the spot where the staff is without having to skip one turn. This is, we did it on day 3. We smashed the dragon, and there we are, stage passed in 3 turns. We can see we achieved a score of 313, one more point than before, and the rank of Black Dragon. And that's pretty much it. So feel free to contact me if you can beat this record, and please like if you enjoyed the video, and see you next time.